A video circulating on the internet is raising concern for India's Christian minority. In it, a small group of Hindu nationalists are seen stomping on images of Pope Francis as they call for Christians to get out of their country. The video surfaced a few weeks after the Archbishop of Delhi wrote a letter calling for a one-year prayer campaign leading up to India's 2019 general elections. Joining me now is Farah Ispahani, Global Fellow at the Wilson Center. Farah, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Wyatt.
Several members of India's ruling party, the BJP party, have condemned this letter by the Archbishop. They called it a divisive move, which I think is the first time I've ever heard a prayer campaign being called a divisive move. What is life like for Christians in India right now, especially under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is part of the same party that some have accused of being sympathetic to Hindu nationalists?
There is definitely a change in India. There is a great deal of change. Religious minorities in India, particularly if you look at it, Christians and Muslims. Christianity dates back 2,000 years in India. And so when you have Hindu nationalists calling Christians foreigners, telling them to go home, or to do ghar wapsi, which means literally return home, which means return home to Hinduism, that if you're not a Hindu, you're not an Indian. And so we have not got any clarification from Prime Minister Modi and the ruling party saying to the lower ranks of the BJP and other extremist Hindu groups which have been allied to them that no, they are as Indian as you and I are. The Indian Constitution says whether you're Hindu or Christian or Jain or Buddhist or Muslim, you are equally Indian.
Right.
But this is today in India. Number one on the agenda is to stop missionary activity by Christians.
It's interesting because you mentioned the Christian minority, which is about 2% of India's population. Muslims are nearly 14%. So I want to switch gears to that minority as well, because Modi's running for re-election in 2019. He's also been accused of anti-Muslim bias in the past. As you mentioned, his party doesn't necessarily have a great track record of that. What do you think would be the implications if Modi won a second term for religious minorities?
I think it would be terrible. Leading Christian figures, Catholic figures in India have called on the Christian community, and within the Muslim community, they have called to their flock, saying, you must get out there, you must vote in the next election, because a second term could be very, very harmful. Because at the moment, the Constitution and the laws at least give people an equal status, regardless of their faith. But if there is a second term and there's tampering with the Constitution and laws are changed, well, then you have Pakistan, and you know where that leads you.
Yeah, and Pakistan's had so many problems, of course, with treatment of religious minorities. So I know that minorities there in the region will be praying for an election that is favorable towards all people. Farah Ispahani, Global Fellow at the Wilson Center, thanks so much for your analysis.
Thank you so much.